In Nigeria, and I make you welcome to another great episode of Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. We kick off today with our newspapers, and right after that, in a jiffy would be our main conversation. Please do well to be part of what we do. You can always visit us at enterprisetvnews.com, or you may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms. At Enterprise TV7, we have Emeka Maldonago, journalist, public affairs analyst, joining us via Zoom. Good morning to you, Emeka, and welcome to Enterprise Morning today.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so very much for your time.
Pleasure.
Yes, Emeka, I'd love us to start with the Guardian newspaper for today and straight to our talking point. Buhari gets a state funeral as critics fault National Assembly's week-long tribute. What do you think the critics are going against? Is it what exactly it is? Because it is worthy enough to give our late president some honor. So is 1 week too much for the critics?
Well, thank you very much. Actually, the National Assembly excuse me, is supposed to sit for 181 days in every year. So they have 181 working days every year out of 365 days. And then they usually sit Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, of every week. Unless when there are special occasions that may require them to sit on a Monday or on a Friday. Other than that, taking a week-long holiday, that means Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, is actually, taking for granted the onerous task that they've been saddled with by Nigerians. I mean, it just shows that they don't actually appreciate the fact that the country needs all hands on deck. I mean, people are already even criticizing the one-day public holiday granted today for the burial of the ex-president. But actually, yes, there are times we may need to adjust concerning those things, but actually it's a big disruption for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses, courts,
flight
meetings
bookings and all that. Just imagine how many people who intended flying out of the country. Issues here and there.
Yeah, one lawyer, a prominent lawyer actually tweeted that he was in Abuja yesterday. He lives in Lagos. He was in Abuja for a case, and that the case was to continue today. But in his hotel room, he suddenly heard that the matter had been moved, that a public holiday had been declared. So what does that mean? I mean, you have to now appear, you now have to stay in Abuja again. And that he paid $500,000 naira for a return ticket, Lagos to Abuja. So you can imagine those kinds of disruptions. They are not in the best interest of Nigerians. So taking a whole week away from sitting is not necessary. I think it just shows how indolent, how lazy, and how unconcerned our National Assembly members are concerning, the issues at hand. It shows our work ethic. And how do we expect the world to take us seriously? These days people even work Saturdays, Sundays. We already have issues that are at hand. We have electoral reforms. We have bills. We have the review of 1999 Constitution, zonal hearings, and all of that. And yet they still have time to take a holiday, take a week-long holiday. It's not. They didn't think about it well. It's wrong.
Very, very wrong. Very, very wrong, Emeka. But let's take a look at other matters. Akpabio appeals against court order for Natasha's recall. Why is Akpabio very so concerned about this lady, this woman that is representing her constituency? Or is what she has alleged against him truly very factual, that he is scared of his own shadow?
No, well, he's within his right to appeal, because he is the main party in the matter, the main respondent. Then in the suit he filed against her, he is also the main applicant. So he actually has a personal interest in the entire matter.
Okay, so because of that,
but I think also,
yes.
well, it is interesting. They've decided to take the. No. It is appealing, because you see, they tried to interpret the court judgment in their own way.
Okay.
That the court said they ordered Senator Natasha Potuda to apologize to the Senate, but when the CTC came out, the court actually said that the distinguished senator should apologize to the court for disobeying its order against any further interviews or public comments on the rest of the matter, which was her issue with the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. So what the Senate now trying to make it look like the court ordered her to apologize to the Senate, which was not the fact. And then the Senate also came up to say that the court gave it the leave to decide on her recall. I mean, that was very strange, because in the case of some other senators, Ndume, Ali Ndume, Abdul Ningi, some other senators in the past, that was not the case. The senators that went to court to challenge their suspension, they were immediately the court ruled, the Senate obeyed. But the interesting thing is that the 10th Senate, the 10th National Assembly is showing itself, not to actually be, subject to rules, to the laws of the land. And by this, by selectively interpreting the judgment, you're supposed to comply with the judgment, then you can appeal. But the situation where you quickly go and you are buying time by trying, by engaging in the selective interpretation of judgment, duly delivered by a competent court, then when the CTC comes out, you change tack and say to appeal. I mean, you're taking Nigerians for granted, and let them be reminded that these public funds that are being used, time will come when they will be made to account for how they used our money, in pursuit of their personal issues. Thank you.
Very true, Emeka. You are a businessman. I'd love you to maybe give us your vantage point on this particular matter and what you think the organization under reference here is doing wrong. And it is on the pay TV struggle, as more Nigerians opt for mobile streaming services out of multi-choice and the DSTV. I personally would tell you, Emeka, that it's been close to 5 months plus. I've never recharged my DSTV. I have not done that because I'm often on my mobile phone, right? So lots of Nigerians equally do not see reasons. What do you think is the business mistake that multi-choice is doing that has made Nigerians not really care about their services, their most loved services, any longer?
Yeah, I think there's a problem of mixing emotions with hardcore business decisions. And that's why you see a lot of foreign companies, fail in Nigeria and they run away. They don't, engage in a deep study of the Nigerian environment. They don't engage, too often you see them appointing marketing director, sales director, from abroad. They bring in expatriates. They bring in foreigners who don't have a deep, knowledge of the Nigerian market. Now that's what's happening with DSTV. The things you don't, with multi-choice, the parent company, the things, the packages you give to your people back in South Africa, you don't bring them to Nigeria. Nigeria is a country with 230 million people, estimated population. You don't joke with such a market, because such a market is large, is vibrant. There are a lot of people, who use their services directly through decoders. There are also people who access their services through their phones, through streaming, live streaming. Then imagine the matches and all of that, football and all of that. Now, but you joke with such a market. People have been talking of pay as you go, that you should institute a pay as you go service, like you have in South Africa. But they've ignored the market. And again, like I warn people, this is a 21st century economy. We're in the 21st century. A lot of disruptions are taking place. A lot of things are changing. And very soon, cable TV, I'm afraid, cable TV might just be extinct. It might just go like your Polaroid camera of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, because I mean, with the coming of AI, I mean, if I have, you know, already in your phone, on your phone, you have an AI assistant. So if you need to watch a movie, you just instruct your AI assistant to get you this movie. You want to watch this movie, and then it will tell you how much you need to pay, and then, you know, how much you need to pay, and then, you know, it will get you the movie. So why do I need a cable service? You know, why do I need to pay? You know, yes, I still subscribe to them, you know, maybe out of sentimental attachment, but honestly, the day I get an alternative, I'll walk away from them. You know, because I mean, why you even find content providers like CNN, BBC, and all of that? They stream their content. So they don't need an intermediary like a MultiChoice to push their content out. You know, they have podcasts, they have their own apps, and all of those services they offer. So why would I bother myself about the DSTV, about GoTV, and all of those other TVs? Why would I bother myself about it? I have friends who don't even use them anymore. They stream, you know, they use their phones, you know. I know people who watch matches, live matches on their phones, you know, using apps on their phones. So I think the problem has to do with, even right now that they've lost thousands of customers, they've still not read the room, like we say in public relations. They've not smelt the coffee. They've not understood that their business model is actually going extinct. And I feel for them because, honestly, look at let them look around all over the world. A lot of businesses are closing down. You know, a lot of businesses are shutting down, or they are reinventing themselves. They are remodeling because, look, disruptions are coming. Businesses are just being wiped out, you know, because people are engaging in research. So they need to, you know, people need to think ahead. This is the 21st century, and nobody is going to have time to, you know, tolerate your lack of understanding of what the times are saying. Thank you.
Very, very true. Even if they have a streaming service called Showmax, but still Nigerians do not see reasons to want to go for them, because everything you can find on Showmax, you can literally get them for free. Emeka, most recently I saw NTA doing strong advertising on TikTok, and people started saying that why are they coming too late? That they would even prefer that NTA remains on TikTok than doing national broadcasting, because they can't. It's even clearer. The picture quality is clearer on TikTok than it is on your television. So don't you think that these are still the same issue that we have with organizations that have been there before now, and newer ones still making the same mistakes the older ones have done? Don't you think so?
Let me tell you, there was a day I was discussing with a friend, you know, that I would like to own a radio station or a TV station and all of that. The friend was telling me, what do you mean? You want to go and waste millions? So if you have that kind of money, you got to waste millions on getting a license. And let me tell you, you just need maybe 10% of that money, you know, to set up such a service. You know, that if you, look at phones. You have phones that have good cameras. You just get a location, you know, and then set up, and you do your thing yourself. Yeah. Interestingly, look at AI videos coming up everywhere. You can't even distinguish between videos of real human beings and AI videos. It's becoming more difficult now. So an AI, you know, a lot of applications are coming up online. You have an AI teleprompter. So you don't need to employ somebody to be doing teleprompter job for you. You have, you know, different things that AI is doing that are coming up. And, you know, you see the intense competition between China and the United States on AI, trying to power AI. So we should understand one thing. Look, gradually Nigerians are going to dump the discourse. I'm telling you, in the next 5 years, honestly, many discourse will just fold up. Just go right. for it's only in radio that right now people have not found an alternative to radio.
Very true.
But once they can find an podcasts have not really been able to fill in the gap, for radio. But you see, a lot of things are changing. Some days ago, a doctor in one country performed a surgery through video on somebody in another country, thousands of miles away. All they just had to do was just get a robot, and the robot performed the surgery. The doctor was just directing the robot, do this, cut this place open, stitch this place, do this. A robot. And the surgery was successful. So what it tells you, look at many years ago, these soft drink companies, they said, no, they couldn't be selling their drinks in plastic bottles. Oh, they couldn't do this until one brand did it. And then the others now started rushing for catch-up. Then remember the issue of GSM, when the early starter said, oh, no, we can't do per second billing. And then one of them that came later that could have actually come earlier, but because there was a delay in the issuance of their license, it came later. And what happened? It started with per second billing and became an instant hit. The same company along the line started giving out SIM cards for free. This was what the competitors said they couldn't do. So the fact of the matter is that when we are, the biggest problem we have in Nigeria today is analog thinking. Using analog thinking, archaic ideas to solve scientific problems, 21st century problems. God has given us brains to think, but we spend so much time in churches, in mosques, in prayer houses, thinking that God will come down and solve our problems. No. God has given us the knowledge, has given us wisdom, has given us understanding to be able to solve our problems. So what we need to do, we pray to him for guidance, yes, but, go and work. So if, NTA being on TikTok, I tell you what, if only they can just take young people and put them in NTA to run NTA, let me tell you, NTA will pay off Nigeria's debts.
Very true.
I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah.
All the debts Nigeria is owing, NTA will pay it off. This country is a very rich country because the population is the strength. If you can empower the population with 21st century thinking, let me tell you, we don't need to borrow. We don't need to owe at all. We won't need all this fuel subsidy. You don't need fuel subsidy because from your home, from wherever you are, you can do a lot of things, So you don't need for your children to be shouting up NEPA and all those things. Those things are analog thinking, archaic thing. We should begin to do away with all these things. It's irritating when the light comes, your children shout up NEPA. This was what you were shouting as a child decades ago. Your children, no, come on. That is one thing, according to Dr. Samademi, we must deal with, we must scrap. We must make sure we stop this idea of our children shouting up NEPA. It's annoying, it's insulting, So what I just want to say is that whoever is thinking now of business, first of all, go online. Go online. The solutions are there. Go online. The solutions are there. Use AI. You have different AI brands. Use AI. Somebody said he was trying to learn language. He downloaded Duolingo, but it didn't really help him. And he now went to ChatGPT. That his knowledge of Spanish has moved very fast. So what it means is that, you may not even, in homes, you don't even need to speak directly, speak your language to your children. You have apps that can teach your children your language.
Very true. And
the world is moving fast. Let us also move fast with the world. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Emeka. And just to let us know, Globacom, a national service organization, actually did it, back in the days when other networks made it look very difficult. And I'd love to believe if it's time, maybe Nigerians should equally create or bring forward a national television, that would equally compete with others, so we can equally have the dividends of some of this things, since it's local, it's domestic, and we can do it ourselves, so rather than relying on other people to help us do it. Thank you so very much, Emeka. We truly do appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that's just the time we have for this particular segment. Just to let you know, we'll be right back to take us on our main conversation. That is when we return. Buhari remembered as pro-poor by a leader of the NLC, Wabba that is. And we'll be having Achike Chude, a writer, public affairs analyst, and Dr. Olayinka Oyebile, an educationist and a public affairs analyst on that particular one. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you so very much for joining us, and this is still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our main conversation for this morning. Former presidents of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and International Trade Union Confederation, Ayuba Wabba, has described the passing of ex-President Muhammadu Buhari as a profound loss to Nigerian workers and the masses. In a statement on Sunday, Wabba said Buhari was a pro-poor leader whose death came as a shock, especially to those who benefited directly from his policies. He recalled how Buhari, shortly after taking office in 2015, approved a $2.1 billion bailout to help states clear salary and pension arrears, showing deep concern for the welfare of workers. Wabba noted Buhari's continued support for labor, including the release of additional bailout funds in 2017, despite some governors allegedly diverting the resources. He also highlighted Buhari's active role in minimum wage negotiations, stating the former president proposed a figure higher than the 30,000 eventually adopted. Wabba emphasized that Buhari's firm stance against removing petrol subsidy, despite pressure from international bodies like the IMF and the World Bank, was a defining feature of his pro-people leadership. Paying tribute, Wabba said Buhari would be remembered for making a tangible impact on workers, pensioners, and the poor. He made the difference where it mattered most, said Wabba. He concluded by praying for Buhari's peaceful rest and offered condolence to the former First Lady Aisha Buhari, the children, and all those close to the late president. And I have with me, joining me from Taipei I think we're having a little bit of a glitch here. I have Dr. Olayinka Oyebile, who is joining me from Taipei, and also Chudi. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here. I truly do appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Yes. So I'd love to start with you, Dr. Olayinka Oyebile, and I'd love you to have your say. What do you think about all that has been said by the ex-NLC chair, that Tinubu was pro-poor? And I would love to believe he is saying this against what we currently have today in Nigeria.
Well, a lot of things have been said about the late President Muhammadu Buhari, and as is want to say, people have been quarreling over it is proper to say any bad thing about a dead man or whatever. But from what Wabba has said, well, if you take a look at what is happening now against the backdrop of what happened during Buhari's time, you may tend to want to agree with him that, well, he did a lot, or he was pro-poor. But in another breath, you ask yourself, to what end? How did we eventually end up? Yes, Bola Tinubu did a very wrong thing, taking away the subsidy. I insist, because I believe that even when he decided to do that, they all know people who profited from the subsidy saga. What has happened to those